I know it's funny that I'm doing a video about the Lego movie on my normal channel and not on my Lego channel, but my normal channel is the one that gets more traffic, so I felt it was important to put this video on my normal channel. Because I believe that the Lego movie is probably one of the most important movies of the past decade, if not of the century. It has a message, a very important message, that I don't know exactly how to articulate in words what I'm trying to say, but there is what it is saying is crucial. It is a movie about creativity and about creation, about using your God-given talents to make things, to create things. Contrary to what some people say, this movie is not anti-Christian and it is not anti-Bible. People watched it once and didn't analyze it. People said, "Oh no, it has instruction books in it, and they go against the instructions, and President Business distributes these instructions, and he looks similar to the man upstairs who's the dad, and man upstairs means God. So is the instructions, is that the Bible? Is it a message against God?" No. A better analog for God in the Lego movie is not the dad. It is the Lego company itself. Who was this father? Well, he was a man who built Lego stuff. He was a very creative man. The actual person was, I should say. Not President Business. But he didn't let his children enjoy building with him. He created all this stuff, and he set it up, and he planned on gluing it and leaving it there. But the movie is really about the story that the kid told. The story in the kid's imagination is about a group of people who were builders. And these builders are oppressed by a character called President Business, who wants everything to be exactly as he wants it to be. He doesn't want anyone creating things for themselves or contributing in any way other than following his instructions. And these instructions are not like the Bible. These instructions are very specific day-to-day things, like get up and go to work and do all this stuff. The Bible doesn't say that. The Bible is a guide of how to live your life, but it must be interpreted logically, because the Bible is a multi-genre book. It must be interpreted. It must be interpreted with intelligence. It must be analyzed. It must be read in context. You can't just read it and follow steps, because it doesn't really give you steps. There are parts that give commands and give instructions, yes, but the whole book isn't like that. It has instruction, it has teaching, it has philosophy, it has theology, it has history, it has poetry, it has all kinds of things in it. And all of it applies to our lives, but in different ways. The instructions that President Business gave were how to live a day in life. Everything you do in that day. Everything. Just even the most inconsequential things. And it wasn't because of any higher power. It was just because he wanted everyone to be exactly as he saw fit. He wanted everybody to be a square. This is not what God wants from us. And all the construction workers in the Lego movie follow instructions to build structures. Now, Lego Company does this when they sell sets, of course. But all the construction workers were following instructions to build buildings. They weren't thinking creatively. They were just doing everything rote, exactly as President Business had told them to. And where did he get this from? It wasn't from him. He wasn't creative. He was stealing all the creative power from the master builders that he had captured in his think tank. What does this remind you of? Internet artists, tell me, what does this remind you of? You know what it is. It's AI. It's generative AI. It steals from human creative talent, mixes it all up in order to create a new thing out of nowhere. That's what President Business was doing. He was using the creative power of the people to create these instructions. But he wasn't letting them just work. He was taking away from them because he doesn't respect the creators. He only wants perfection, and he wants to rule it all. He wants all these towering structures. He wants all these creations, all these things, but he doesn't really want people to make them themselves. He wants it all to be according to his plan, because he wants the monopoly on all creativity, and he doesn't want to bother to try actually building things himself. He just wants to command everyone else to build for him. Last year, I made a few videos about art, specifically about the internet artist community, such as anime, furries, and one video about what I believe is coming. I believe that there is another Jesus movement coming, like the one in the 70s, but this one won't be about music. This one, as I said in the video, will be about art. And the young internet artist community, when I say young, I mean around 30 or so, 30 or younger. The young internet artist community is under attack right now from the threat of AI. And to a certain extent, we are also attacked by the status quo of the church, because the church doesn't care about art. We see art as frivolous, as useless, or as weird in some cases. We see people's hobbies as weird and strange. And we tie in the fact that just because some people in those hobbies, or even a lot of people in those hobbies, happen to have certain lifestyles that the Bible calls sinful, that we automatically say, okay, then these hobbies in of themselves are bad. But the hobbies in of themselves are not the problem.
If you got an animal coming to school, how about we get them vaccinated? How about we get them neutered? And how about we send them to the pound? And that's what this bill is going to be about.
They are put in an environment where there are kids that identify as a furry, a cat or a dog, whatever. And so yesterday I heard that at least one of our schools in our town has in one of the unisex bathrooms, a litter box for the kids that identify as cats.
Go down one more to the manga and anime and find out the dangers in that. Really dangerous. It looks like just cartoons. It's not.
It's not. It's demonic. It's from the pit of hell. Every show basically has some type of demonic character in it, even Pokemon. And when I go out places for years before any of these studies that I found, say 10 years ago, when I was talking someplace and a parent came up to me afterwards and started talking to me about their child that for somehow now is identifying as trans, I asked them two questions. If they were under 25 years old, I asked them two questions. Are they on the spectrum? Meaning, do they have Asperger's or autism? And about 30 to 40% of them said yes. How do you know? And then we talked about that. And the second question I asked was, do they watch anime? And their eyes would get huge, and they said, yes, they're very into anime 100% of the time. That's my experience, not me digging into studies. I don't really know how to do studies or read studies that well, That's just my own experience. And that was before I found that other people were talking about that as well.
They fearmonger about hobbies they don't understand. They say things like, if a young person becomes a furry, then they'll start identifying as an animal. Or, if a young person is interested in anime, then they'll become transgender. But that's not how it works. They fearmonger about hobbies they don't understand. And they call people weird for doing cosplay, or for making art, or for dyeing their hair. Oh my goodness. They don't like self-expression. They want everyone to be exactly like them. It reminds me of the scene in the Lego movie when all the people were rising up and building all their things, building new creations. And President Business was freaking out and saying, no, don't do that. Don't build. Don't do it. Don't express yourself. They won't admit this, but they hate self-expression because they believe that self-expression is inherently tied to sin, that it's inherently tied to sexual identity. And to wokeism, and to postmodernism, and to individualism. You're not allowed to express yourself. You're just supposed to sit down and shut up. Oh, and they'll say you can express yourself, but only through certain channels. Because if you dare to create anything or be original, then you're just asking for attention. That's all. You're just going through a phase. You just want attention. You're not an artist. You're not creative. You don't have ideas. If you were a creative person, you'd go to the painting class. You'd go to learn to sing in the choir. You wouldn't be drawing anime. That stuff is outside. That's outside of us. You don't go outside. Now, I've never heard anybody say any of this, but it is the unspoken mood. And then, look, I'm sorry. If I've said some stupid things, or if I've made some stupid posts, I'm sorry. I really don't hate anyone, or anyone's experiences, or anyone's trauma from being mistreated for their hobbies, or even for their sins. Because we are all humans, and we all are fallen. What I really don't like is how some people will say that just because an artist is queer, that means that their art isn't valid. I don't agree with that. Whatever your lifestyle, whatever your personal beliefs are, it makes no difference. You still have God-given talent. I may not agree with your ideas, with your worldview, or what you see yourself as, but I respect what God has given you, your God-given talents, and how you create things. And I am sick and tired of seeing all these posts online that are saying we need to cheer the introduction of AI because we can stick it to those woke artists and those weirdos on Blue Sky, those people who draw weird stuff and even disgusting stuff. Okay, there's disgusting art out there that I do not approve of. But the people who draw it are not what people think they are. They are artists. They may not be drawing things that I like. They may not be drawing things that are right, but they are actually creating it. They aren't just consuming it. And people say, well, artists are degenerates. No, artists are creators. Even if they're creating things that are degenerate, they are still creating. And what is AI doing? AI is inherently degenerative. It is stealing. It is perverting everything. Even if it's clean content, it is still stealing. And AI generated naughty stuff is probably the most evil thing possible because there isn't any creative process going into making it. It is automatically generated by a computer by the prompt of a consumer. It is consumed. It is not created. The same applies to clean AI content. It is exactly like that as well. So yeah, say what you want about the internet artists, about the weirdos, about the furries, about the anime fans, about those creeps. Say what you want about them. But AI bros are much worse. AI will be much worse for the human psyche because anybody's imagination, no matter how good or how disgustingly evil it is. It will pop on the screen instantaneously. That is not creativity. The more you think about it, the more you realize that this technology is an intentional attack on the collective human psyche. It's going to rot everyone's brains. I know I sound like a boomer when I say that, but I am serious this time. I mean, look at what's going on with Gen Alpha. And the other attack on the human psyche is the attack on human artists, on human creatives. Not just from AI, but, as I said, from the status quo of the church. That they don't understand certain hobbies and they fearmonger about them without doing any research. And not only do they fearmonger, but they cheerlead AI because they want to replace the creatives. The flawed human creators with flawless robots that do exactly as you command.